Hi everyone, this is Adhansh Tech and Space. Please tell me if you can hear me or no. Okay, now you people can, so I'll start. So the launch was scrubbed all the last time, but now they are back and everything is go for launch. Dragon is go, then Falcon 9 is go, and right now they were just talking about they were telling us the weather update, and they just said that the weather is clear and it's good. So yeah, I'll just play it.
There's the countdown clock.
I'll just let it full screen.
We're gonna pause.
Yes, so they were talking about missions, like missions to the ISS, future missions. Like the next one from the Crew Dragon will be the Crew One, and then sending Tom Cruise to shoot his movie on the ISS, and then sending tourists to the ISS. So let's just see if they are talking about something important.
If you're just joining us, we're less than 50 minutes from the scheduled liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket.
So today there's a 50% chance of liftoff. I don't know if it has just increased, and the weather also looks good. I'll just show you. So it's good. Precipitation 2% chance. It actually rained, but but it didn't, like there were just some 2 or 3 drops and then nothing happened. So and right now it's not raining, and that's all that matters.
Dragon copy, go weather.
You just heard go weather, which means like they have it's everything is go for launch now. Not even the weather is stopping them, and everything went nominal in the starting. They went to the Model X's, and then came to the pad, and then everything happened like like the last time, but this time I guess it will go correctly, I guess. Like we are not sure, but as of now everything is go, and the vehicle looks healthy, and the fueling has also started. So like just in case you were not there the last time, if you just see some smoke coming out of the Falcon 9, it's not smoke, it's just condensation of liquid oxygen, and there's nothing to be worried about. It's very cold, and they fill it till T minus 2 minutes. So to increase the performance of their Falcon 9 Block 5 boosters. Yeah, let's just listen to them.
Accomplish those in the next few minutes.
And the launch director just getting the teams ready. We'll be coming up on that propellant loading again. That starts in about 35 minutes prior to liftoff, so in about 12 minutes.
Oh, it did not start. And we just got a weather briefing which I couldn't hear, but the weather is okay, so there's nothing to worry about. And then they were talking about Starship and the SLS. Now if you want to know about Starship and SLS, I already have a video called which is the world's most powerful rocket in the next 5 years, so you can check that out. And yeah, so like how Starship is like better than SLS. They didn't say that, but I don't know why they say that the SLS will be better than the Starship when Starship will be better than the SLS. Actually, they don't say that the SLS is better than better than Starship. They just say that SLS will be the world's most powerful rocket in 2021, but Starship will be made in 2020. They are not saying it because Starship has not been made, or they would have said this. So yeah, we'll keep listening for such. We'll just keep turning on the mics in case there's some emergency weather announcement or something.
Call out there.
Launch control clear to retract the access arm on time. Cover that. Arming access arm retracted T minus 45 minutes.
Okay, so now like in maybe 1 minute or me, I have no idea. They said T minus 45 minutes the arm will retract. The arm which you can see over here, this will retract. You couldn't see it yesterday because I didn't live stream that early, and we are ahead of schedule over here, but not like the launch uh, will be before the proposed time, just that like the hatch closed before than expected. So yeah, that's why. And let's just check for an update. So
Also watching the abort corridor off of the Atlantic coast. In case, for example, at stage separation, Dragon had to abort into the ocean. The conditions there are acceptable. There has not been lightning late.
so they also have to like look at the spots, like if the Crew Dragon has to abort, then where will it go? Like if it has to, like it will land, splash down on the sea if there's an abort, or even normally. But if there's an abort, they need to see like on the place which it will splash down, if there's good weather over there or no, then in the air or no. So yeah,
Hold on the countdown net. Launch control immediately aborts
over
the
there
launch
you
auto
can see the
sequence
arm
and proceed
retract.
to the launch abort auto sequence. Operators shall also advise launch director whether structural break or fire is imminent or occurring per Dragon manual escape flight rules. A reminder on fire alarm instructions. In the event of a fire alarm, key operators previously briefed will remain at their post while the alarm is evaluated. In the event that personal safety is threatened, evacuate to the south-facing emergency exit, which leads directly outside. At this time, weather is go for launch.
You can see on the screen, we're inside T minus 40. We're T minus 44 minutes, 5.
So that's the white room over there.
SpaceX launch director is given the final brief to the crew. And we will be beginning a propellant loading at T minus 35 minutes. So right now on Falcon 9, ready to get into propellant loading. Dragon, crew, getting control.
And the last time someone asked me like, can you highlight about the fuel? Like I don't remember the question, but it was something like what is like which fuel or something like that. So the Falcon 9 uses RP1 and liquid oxygen, and then the Crew Dragon uses hyperbolic propellant. Like hyperbolic propellant is propellant like which, like when they have make contact, they just fire up. So it's like they are faster than they are faster than human reflexes. So it's like they are like a very good option for abort systems, because you want to be fast and not just blast with the rocket.
The hashtag Launch America from your favorite social media platform. And with that, at T minus 42 minutes, 50 seconds, conditions are go, and we are counting down for an on-time launch. Let's send it back over to Kennedy Space Center as the action begins to pick up on the pad.
Dragon, SpaceX, you are go for Section 7, close visors, and arm launch escape system.
So the launch escape system has now been armed, so like now they can just if anything happens, they can now abort at any time. And nothing like if it has retracted, then it will not it will it they can't abort. Well, the last time the arm had been retracted and they did an abort, they scrubbed it. So there's nothing like now there can not be any abort. And the Falcon 9 like is such a good rocket that on T minus 3 seconds all of the 9 Merlin engines ignite, but like at once it aborted at T minus 0 in the Starlink 7, like T minus 0 seconds, then abort. So like humans did not, the Falcon 9 saw something like something bad related to engine power, so it just cut it off. And then the SpaceX crew had, sorry, not the crew, the ground professionals had to go and then fix the problem. But then the next day when it launched, one of the 9 Merlin engines did not fire. It was a successful launch, just that the solid rocket booster could not land back because of one engine shut off. But that's the boost which you get from 9 million engines. And then also the octawave configuration, like there are 8 kind of one quarter for one engine, and then there are 8 like those. And then so that like if one engine fails the sorry, if one engine catches fire, the others shouldn't, so that's why.
Here with our recovery and ground operations teams.
Awesome. And Nick was our mission manager for our in-flight abort test earlier this year and now works on the Starlink team. Nick, on Wednesday you talked about the launch escape system. Could you just give us a brief summary today for those that are joining today?
Sure. So the launch escape system, again, is our ultimate safety feature to keep Bob and Doug safe in the event of a major Falcon anomaly on the pad. The system is designed to automatically fire if either vehicle detects a dangerous condition developing. If that happens, Dragon will use its 8 Super Draco engines to push the capsule off and away to a safe distance away from this Falcon. This capability is absolutely critical. It's what keeps the crew safe, and we're now active and armed on the pad with it protecting the crew.
And as you mentioned, the launch escape system allows the Dragon to separate and get away from the vehicle. I believe it goes into the ocean. What happens after it lands safe?
Just give me 1 second. I'll just come in 1 second.
For most of our failure modes, the successful end state is Dragon deploying parachutes, splashing down safely in the ocean. But since a launch escape can happen while the vehicle's on the pad or anywhere in flight up through orbit, it could be splashing down right off the coast of Cape Canaveral. It could be splashing down thousands of miles away in the North Atlantic. If that happens, to make sure we can get to Bob and Doug as quickly as possible, the Space Force's 45th Space Wing, Task Force 45, has pararescue teams staged and ready all around the world, ready to drop in and rescue Bob and Doug as soon as possible.
And just in case you don't know that this United States is forming some Space Force project, they have not told us anything about it, but it's 100% sure that they are doing something like that and making some project. It might be top secret.
Which will bring the capsule down to a splashdown point.
And if you're thinking that the Tom Cruise thing is wrong, well then NASA's administrator, like a very high post in NASA, tweeted that why I forgot that actor's name actually, that Tom Cruise will be filming on the ISS. So nothing like it's fake or something. It's true.
Ships, one in the Atlantic, one in the Gulf of Mexico. And our space operations team can redirect the spacecraft to go to whichever site is the safest option for the crew at that time.
And with the vehicle, in almost any scenario, it sounds like the vehicle will land into the ocean. And it may look like a gentle landing into the ocean, but it's a pretty dynamic event happening. And you mentioned there are teams that are ready to go and rescue the vehicle and the astronauts on board. How do you prepare for something like that, especially that could happen?
Sure. So we've had about a decade of recovery with Cargo Dragon 1 in our previous trips to the International Space Station.
So like if you are wondering that if you even know, you must be knowing, I'm not sure, Dragon 1, the predecessor of the spacecraft which could only deliver cargo, on the first flight there was a window on the top, like there were no astronauts, so why was there a window? No, there was no camera or anything. They were just preparing for this flight right here. And then like this project began like 9 years ago when the space shuttle retired. So yeah.
Emergency scenarios where we have to get the crew out of the capsule while they're still in the water, as well as those helicopter evacuations, taking off and landing from the pad many times, so that we make sure the team is ready to do that. They're all staged and ready. They feel ready to support, and will be ready to call on us if anything goes wrong today.
Awesome. It sounds like Bob and Doug are
Oh,
in
sorry.
really good hands and will be safe no matter what occurs on the vehicle. So
Let's
thank you,
just
Nick, for
check
joining
the
us again,
weather. One
for
second.
walking us through all of those details.
Yeah,
I hope you're
so
just as excited as we
2%
are for
precipitation.
our
I'll
launch
just
coming up
refresh it
here
and then
very,
let's see.
very shortly now. So we're going
Yeah,
to send it over to
1%
KSC
precipitation, which
to
is very
Lauren.
hot on California. So it's like,
Thank you,
oh,
Jesse.
sorry.
So, as you just heard, fueling is about to begin at T minus 35 minutes. We are about 50 seconds away from that. And so, we're getting really, really
Oh no.
close to the first
Yeah,
launch
sorry.
of astronauts. The launch escape system is armed, which, as you know, happens
So it has now
before
been
fueling.
armed.
And Dragon propellant load, that's the propellants that are inside of the Dragon capsule, not the rocket.
So
Prop load for
this
Dragon
over
took
here is the
place weeks
rocket. You
ago,
want?
just a
Yeah,
few
this over
miles
here
down
is
the
the
road, what we
rocket.
call Dragon Land. And those propellants, they
So
are MMH or mono.
so this rocket is launching on pad 39A. So like if you're thinking what's so big in that, like every rocket has a pad, and what does a pad even do? So like if there's no pad, then there's no rocket launch, and like okay, T minus 35 minutes, and like oh I yeah. So like this pad is like very historic because Apollo 8, then Apollo 11, and all of the Apollo missions, I think, except 2 or 3, like where humans first left Earth to go to some other celestial body. It's that launch pad, and then the one in which STS-1 or the space shuttle's first flight flew, and now the Crew Dragon, and also Starship. Like Starship is in it's being built right now as we talk. And breaking news, SN4 exploded. Now we don't know why it exploded, but it did. SN5 and SN6. So SN5 is in the high bay, and SN6 is like half built, and then SN7, we can see some SN7 parts. Let's just see what they're talking about. And oh, she's some SpaceX engineer, and then the guy on the left, this guy was an astronaut.
Lifts the vehicle off. In the case of Dragon, our escape system is integrated into the vehicle completely. And so that's just better from one less thing you have to jettison every single flight. But it also allows us to have escape capability from the pad before T0.
Yeah, and if you're thinking that SpaceX is the reusable dude, well, then you are correct. But like the Crew Dragon will be reusable, but not reusable for crew flights. Like right now, this crew will fly, but then the next time, after this flight, this particular Crew Dragon like piece will not be able to fly astronauts again. It will only be able to fly cargo. Now I don't know why, but SpaceX has just told us.
Falcon 9 shoot up into the air and they can splash down safely in the Atlantic Ocean under Dragon's parachutes.
If you have not seen the in-flight abort test in January, then you should see it. Like they deliberately made their Falcon 9 explode, and then the Crew Dragon aborted successfully. So like you should see it. I'll just tell you like what like I'll just give the link in my comments after this, so you can just watch it because it's awesome. Like they deliberately make a rocket blow up. So yeah. Oh, sorry. So I don't know. Maybe there's some problem in their live stream. So we can't hear anything. Like oh yeah, we can, but no one is speaking anything. So yeah, I'll just mute it. I'll just
We're
not.
T minus 32 minutes, counting down. These final minutes, everything's still looking good for Falcon 9 and Dragon for an on-time launch. Falcon 9 did begin propellant load at T minus 35 minutes at planned. Now on the Falcon 9, we use a fuel and oxidizer as the propellants that power it. The fuel is commonly known as RP1. That's rocket propellant grade 1 kerosene. The oxidizer is
It's
densified
highly
liquid
refined
oxygen,
kerosene.
also called LOX. Densified means it is kept much colder than typical for launch vehicles. This allows for more oxidizer to be loaded into the first and second stages. Now with the fuel and oxidizer on hand, we need an ignition source to complete that fire triangle, as we call it. For this, Falcon 9 uses a fluid called T-Temp. It ignites in the presence of oxygen and gives off a green-colored flame. Now it's hard to see on the first stage ignition due to the water that'll be spraying on the pad, but you might just see the green flare as the second stage engine ignites following stage separation over 2.5 minutes into flight. Now currently first stage fuel tank is about 10% full. The first stage, as a reminder, as you look on the left side of your screens, the first stage is the long white cylinder at the bottom, topped off by the black cylinder. So
Yeah, so that's just basic information. So the astronauts right now, like they are very very safe. Nothing can harm them as of now, and even the weather looks good. So it's good. Everything is go for launch. And this is the best cameras you can get because this is NASA's live stream. So nothing like I'm like seeing some everyday astronaut or anything like some local camera. It's the original SpaceX camera. Like SpaceX and NASA are doing a stream which like both of their channels are showing the same thing. So yeah.
aboard the Dragon spacecraft, astronauts are monitoring systems while the propellant is loaded into Falcon 9. While we mentioned we had trained them with sounds that we had recorded on board. They've been through most of a propellant load, and they are now experiencing those sounds and vibrations.
Stage 1,
The
grab
range
helium load
continues to
started.
report no problem.
So this is the first time humans have heard cryogenic fuel coming into their rocket.
On the weather. We'll continue to watch all the way through.
So like the first time, like humans were in the inside the spacecraft and the rocket is fueling. So like this is quite a debatable sorry uh, quite a debatable topic. Like at first, like every time. So if you have seen CRS-7, then the Falcon 9 exploded because like the COPVs were damaged, like could not bear the pressure of the fuel. See, it's liquid oxygen is very cold. This is super chilly, that's why it counts. But they super chilly till the end nowadays. First, they didn't like they made an upgrade to the Falcon 9, but they did not super chill it till the end. So as a result, the liquid oxygen turned into a solid and then just broke out those COPP tanks. So they upgraded those tanks, and then they also like started this procedure of fueling their rocket till T-2 minutes. So like uh, people thought like how sorry now like there was no debate between NASA and SpaceX, but just for you, like understanding you the logic, like T-2 minutes is the time when this finish loading. So like T-2 minutes, so it's like not enough time for the astronauts to get aboard the Falcon 9 and the crew to exit. So they just thought of putting the crew first and doing that, and as it has pad aboard, it can just launch off, and the fuel in the Crew Dragon is already there, so they can just launch off.
And can be done autonomously with no crew on board the station. It's typically a faster process both when arriving and leaving, but it does still require pinpoint accuracy to approach safely.
Once captured, a spacecraft then gets attached to a common berthing mechanism, the same type of port that we use to connect each of the modules on the station together. It's a little bit slower of a process, but the hatches are significantly larger than the docking ports, which makes them perfect for bringing up those really big cargo items.
Dragon will spend up to 120 days docked before preparing to return home, following successful
So this is
objectives and cargo.
So this is on this, like it depends on the mission. So like I've already made a video about it, SpaceX Part 2. So the Crew Dragon can remain docked to the ISS for 210 days, but in this particular mission 110 days.
Orbit entry and landing. We're splashdown. which is going to cover all the operations following that final departure maneuver. It's going to include events like the trunk separation,
And I will
closing
also
of the
live
nose
stream
cone,
the
a
docking, which
deorbit
is
burn,
tomorrow.
and then eventually as they
I'm not
get
sure
into
of
the
the time, but
atmosphere,
I
the
will schedule
deployment
the
of the
event.
drogue and the main parachutes, and all of that ends with splashdown right off the Florida coast. At that point, teams from SpaceX will move in with their recovery ship, grab the capsule out of the water, and work to get Bob and Doug out of Dragon after a successful mission in space. So we are 26 minutes away from launch.
Okay,
Fueling of
last
Falcon
time it
9 is
was
continuing. Let's check in one more time
scrap
down with
that.
the team at Kennedy. Murray?
Scrub that T
All right,
minus
thanks,
17
Dan. We are
minutes.
so pumped right now because things have cleared up and it looks like we might actually do this today. If you're just joining us, we are now 25 minutes, 46 seconds and counting from the first launch of astronauts to the International Space Station
See, this
soil in
where there was
9
liquid
years.
oxygen.
This will mark the beginning of a new era where more people will be able to fly to space than ever before. And we want to share with you the results of a poll we asked a little earlier. If you could go
Yeah,
to
this
the
is
moon,
good.
it's not where the astronauts are going today, they're going to the space station, but if you could go to the moon, would you rather visit the South Pole where no one has been before or the Apollo
And
11
not even a
landing
lunar
site?
lander
And
has
it was a
landed
pretty
over there.
even split. We had 46% of you say you would go to the moon's south pole, and 54% of you would go to the Apollo 11 landing site.
Yeah, so please
Apollo
let me
11.
know down in the comments if you wanted to go to the South Pole, which like no lunar rover has gone to, or the Apollo 11 landing site where two people have already been. So yeah, please tell me. I say the South Pole. Please tell me down in the comments. I'm seeing them. So if you have any doubts, please let me know. And the worm, this logo is back, and even this is there, the meatball one, but the worm is back. So like, if you can see the curves over here, they are because of the edges of planes built by NASA and the rocket. So that's why. And then red, it was just a random color chosen, and yeah. Then the meatball sign, I'll just show you when it comes afterwards. 1 second. They'll just show it somewhere.
25 minutes to go to here. I'm sure things are heating up online.
Yeah, so this is
I
the
mean,
one.
you're complete that go for people are on the edge on this historic moment to
Yeah, so this was the meatball. This like moving thing is an orbit. Then this red thing represents space exploration or astronomy. Astronomy, and then blue is just random color, and then the stars.
Doug, the best of luck. This will be my own first time watching humans lift off to space from the United States, and it's just going to be a super emotional moment. For that, Marie, back to you at Kennedy for these last minutes before launch.
So the Soyuz 9-year monopoly is about to come to an end. Like the Soyuz will also go, but also the Crew Dragon.
And collected as test pilots, but I think they're thinking about what are the steps they have to take if a malfunction or something happens. So the nominal stuff is all kind of automated, but
Yeah, and if a launch is delayed, nothing like they won't launch the same day. Nothing like they cannot launch the same day. So like I'm not sure which STS mission it was, like which space shuttle mission it was, but like, and I don't even remember the crew's name, but like the captain was there, and actually it's kind of a story, but it's real. It happened. He said that there's a good news and a bad news. So that the good news is that it's raining, and the bad news is that it's clearing out. So like the launch got delayed. Then the weather cleared, and it did, then it was they restarted the clock. Then it stopped again due to a malfunction. Then they went there, they fixed it. Then after that they just launched. So yeah, very tricky things can happen.
And
T minus 21 minutes, and the and Donald Trump should have arrived. I don't know why he has not arrived, but he like on Wednesday he had arrived. Sorry, Thursday for IST, Wednesday for EDT. So he had arrived on his Air Force One. We are not sure if he will this time or not.
And Gary?
This is Mission
Hey,
Control
Marie,
Houston.
the space station team here is focused. All eyes are on the system checks that are happening across the, and we're listening in as we close in on launch, and I can tell you that things are looking very good. Chris Cassidy will be watching from the International Space Station, right now flying over the Pacific Ocean. It's heading to cross right over the launch pad. We might even get some good views from the station. Hope to be capturing those. We'll have the launch view and the big screen up front, and everyone's excited to see our 2 crew members on their way to the International Space Station. But before we get to it, I just want to pass on good luck from the entire flight operations community here in Houston. It's always exciting to be doing something wholly new and history-making with station operations, and we can't wait to see our team members Bob and Doug in low Earth orbit and heading to the International Space Station. That's it from us here in Mission Control Houston. I'll send it back over to the team in Hawthorne for the latest happening there. John.
Let's just check the weather again.
Minus 20 minutes, 30 seconds. We're
Strong
continuing
backfill
to
started.
count down. Everything is still looking good
Yeah,
for launch
I'll
of
just
Falcon 9 and
refresh.
Dragon. 22 minutes, 45 seconds
1%,
after the hour.
1% precipitation and 14 kilometers
You
per
can
hour
see
of
a
wind. So
large
it's
white
good.
cloud coming off of the strong
Good
back.
till
That
now.
is normal. As we get ready to load the second stage with liquid oxygen, we have to chill in the
1
plumbing lines
second.
going
I don't know
up
why
that
it's
strong back.
happening. Yeah.
And so as we relieve pressure, the moist, humid Florida air condenses around it, and that gives you the cloud. So that tells us that things are actually on schedule. We did begin propellant load at T-minus 35 minutes. Fuel loading on the second stage, I believe we just heard the call out that it is complete.
Complete. So
First
this
stage
is
fuel
good.
load is continuing, and right now that's a little more than.
So on the
that's about
second stage
60%
they have
of
the
way full.
MVAD, so they
things
will
are
say
looking good.
Miko, which
Second
means
stage is getting ready
Miko
to begin.
or Miko 1. I'm not sure. It depends on the mission, like if it will fire once or twice. But if only once, then they'll say Miko, which means they'll say Biko. No, it's no. Like when they'll say they'll say Seiko when the second engine cuts off. So like second engine cut off, and Miko is for main engine cut off.
Now on the Dragon Tide, the Dragon mission director and the team there are reporting no issues. They've done
Please
their communications
tell me like if you have
The crew access
anything
arm,
about
as you can see,
space
is
or
retracted
tech
away from the
in the
spacecraft. The crew is strapped in and they are ready to
in the
go.
comment section.
Now final instructions will be going to the crew at T-minus 10 minutes.
And my
The crew
next
displays will be configured for launch.
And my next video will 100% be advertisements in space. So like Russian advertisements, like all of the advertisements, but Americans have not done any advertisements in space, so that's why like kicking off a golf ball out of the space station. So this was just a hint, like one of the adverts.
But right now at T-minus 18 minutes, 15 seconds, everything continues to be go for an on-time launch. So Dan, Jesse, things are looking pretty good. How are they doing over at your stand?
Things are great from about 15 feet away from you, John. And honestly, things are looking pretty great down at the pad there. We're seeing a lot more blue in the sky. Green is the color we want when we're talking about weather, and that's where we're sitting right now. So we're continuing to count down. We are under 18 minutes away from liftoff. Again, it's an instantaneous liftoff at...
Okay, so the last time the last time it was scrubbed at this time, but this time it won't be scrubbed. I'm 100% sure. Not 100%, but most likely they will launch today. And if they don't launch today, then tomorrow is the next window.
Flight. So we'll see the first stage fly until we hear Miko, or main engine cut off, about 2.5 minutes into flight. After that, the second stage will take over and continue to power them the rest of the way. Second engine cutoff comes in just under 9 minutes at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds. Following that second stage completing its job, it'll continue to coast for about 3 minutes. It'll do a a slight attitude adjustment and null out any rate, so make sure it's not in any kind of a
Just
spin
1 second.
before they do separation. So that's when the Dragon spacecraft will physically separate from the Falcon 9 vehicle, and Bob and Doug will be flying free.
Yeah, sorry for
It's
that.
about a 19-hour ride
Yeah.
if we launch today on time.
It
So that means
depends
Bob
on
and
the
Doug will
mission.
get on orbit.
Nothing like
They'll have
it's
a
very
number
slow.
of burns or those firings of those Draco thrusters that they'll do over
Stage 2 LOX
several.
load started.
We hear the LOX, the liquid oxygen load has now started on stage 2.
On stage
So
2,
again, they're
like
going
it
to be
had
doing a
started on
series of
stage
burns
1,
on
but
the way uphill
not on
towards the
stage 2. You can
International
see
Space
the
Station
smoke.
5 spread
Yeah,
out
you
over
could
the
see the
first
smoke
16
coming
hours or
out
so
of the
of their
second
flight
stage.
until they get much closer and it's time for that approach and docking. And we are expecting that with an on-time launch to happen today. That'll be coming tomorrow in the afternoon. All right, now that we're under 16 minutes away, we have a special guest joining us. I'm going to toss it over to Jesse.
We are T-minus 15 minutes and 45 seconds from liftoff of our second demonstration mission today, and we have the honor of having SpaceX's president and COO, Gwen Shotwell, join us. Thanks, Gwen, for coming out and taking a few minutes to chat with us.
Thanks, Jesse.
We know you've been on console. How's the countdown been going so far in there?
Countdown is clean today, just like it was Wednesday. We did clear the weather hurdles sooner than we did on Wednesday. And the only thing we're watching right now is downrange weather and lightning at the staging location.
Of course.
But we will clear that hurdle at T-minus 7
T-minus
minutes.
15 minutes, so this
Great,
is good.
very exciting. Now I'm going to throw it back to 2012 because you were on console for Dragon when it was first making its way to the space station. How does that experience compare to today?
Stage 2 LOX is on the DPUs
So
and
I
Boeing
was
second
nervous
on the way.
then. I stopped getting nervous for launches. Today I'm nervous again. Super nervous. Stomach and throat.
Understandable.
No, it's a fantastic day today. I'm really excited. The team is pulled together. It's such a professional.
So you can see the liquid oxygen vent, like they have made special vents, nothing like it's just getting out of the rocket. They have made some special vents, so you'll just see the liquid oxygen coming out from the same place. And then they have like given many upgrades to the pad. Like first it was red and taller in the Apollo era. Then they made a white structure but wider in the space shuttle era, and now they have made like look futuristic and out of a sci-fi movie.
Want to thank Elon for hiring me.
We thank Elon for hiring you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you get back to mission control. And good luck with launch today.
Thanks, Jesse, and Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
Well, we are so excited. We are just a few minutes away from countdown. So we are going to turn it over to Dan and John for the final minutes in terminal count. Take it away, John.
T-minus 13 minutes, 30 seconds, continuing to count down. We're continuing.
Let's just check the weather again. %, but yeah, it looks good. 15 minutes from now, it's good.
Stage just about 3.5 minutes ago. We are also loading cryogenic helium into the storage vessels on the first and second stage, getting in the last little bits of helium when we keep it cryogenic, cold and liquefied. That gets us, just like we do with liquid oxygen, the maximum amount into the storage volume so that we can get the most performance out of the vehicle. Right now, we are in a fairly quiet state on the vehicle. Ground pumps continuing to put the propellant in to first and second stages. Next significant issue, callouts that we're going to hear will probably be inside the T-minus 10 minutes when
this
they
is
talk
the
to
zip
crew.
line, and these two are not very close. They
But
just
at the
look
moment,
because of the
everything
camera
continuing
angle.
to look good at T-minus 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
No, just 1 second.
Getting real close now, John. It's only a little over 12 minutes away. Just a reminder for everybody, it's about a 9-minute ride uphill We'll have some dueling boxes going on as that first stage is going to be coming home while the second stage is carrying Bob and Doug into orbit. So obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on our astronauts the whole way uphill. Some of the calls that you'll be hearing.
So like I recommend seeing some two documentaries of the space shuttle on Hotstar because like they are very good. They also show you a scene in which like you see like what a pilot sees, what a space shuttle pilot used to see like when he or she was like coming back. So uh, like they were burning like a torch and all of that stuff. And I no, yeah, actually you should watch it, but if you don't, my my next video might be about that.
From there in the Cape all the way up to about the very top of North Carolina, and then we'll have 2A through 2E or 2 Echo, and that will be on the second stage, and that goes from North Carolina all the way up to about the.
And if you are thinking like once in orbit, then it will use these so 8 Super Draco engines. Well, they won't. These are all always for aborts, and even like if, when they are in orbit they can still abort, so nothing very bad. Which engine will then like take it off? Like second engine, it's the second stage. So I as I told you, the MVAC-D or Merlin 1D plus will be there. It's just below Crew Dragon. You can't see it because it has been fitted up atop the Falcon 9. And then like if you see a ring kind of thing get out of there, there's nothing so bad in it. It's like it's like they need to do it, or the engine might just lose its shape. So like when it the Merlin 1D vacuum, sorry. So like when it gets out of there, the sorry, like as of now, it's that circular thing is there, so it's maintaining the engine shape and protecting it. So yeah, it's used for protection and like maintaining the engine's shape.
It is absolutely our honor to be part of this huge effort to get the United States back in the launch business. We'll talk to you from orbit. Thank you.
T-minus 9 minutes.
Thanks for those words.
Or L-minus 9 minutes.
SpaceX core. So again, that voice that's going to be talking to Bob and Doug throughout their mission from right here in Hawthorne, just offering a few quick words. The crew did confirm their crew displays are configured for launch. We are coming up on 9 minutes and counting.
We've gotten through T-minus 10 minute with the crew discussions. Activity is now going to switch over to Falcon 9. Our next major event comes at T-minus 7 minutes. We begin what we call engine chill. Pre-valves will open. Those currently separate propellants on the first stage from getting down to the Merlin engines. We'll open the pre-valves. That allowed fuel liquid oxygen to flow to the top of the pumps. And more importantly, when we open the valves, that allow us to begin chilling the 9 Merlin 1D turbo pumps on the first stage engine. It'll take a few minutes to get them cold enough to where they would then be ready to pass the large amounts of liquid oxygen through the pumps and into the main thrust chambers when we get to engine ignition at T-minus 2 seconds. We don't want to try to run highly chilled liquid oxygen through a warm pump. You would flash that into gas, and running gas through a high-speed pump is not a good thing. So right now, we are waiting for T-minus 7 minutes. That'll start the engine chill. Shortly after that, we will also get the fuel shutdown.
I don't know why some important person in mission control was seeing something, but that John just didn't stop. So this is the checklist, which is like, I don't know why they're using this checklist. They should have something like electronic thing over here. Could be increasing the weight. I don't know. And just in case you are wondering that like there are are there 4 screens, 3 screens? So there are only 3 screens. It's like fully touch screen. You should see the space shuttle cockpit, and so like then you'll get to know how clumsy it is and how good this is. So like the buttons are just for like emergency buttons. I don't know other ones. One is like a red button which they have to press if they want to abort. The crew, see, I'll just tell you who all can abort. The crew can abort, obviously. Then the crew dragon itself, like the computers of the crew dragon, can. Then the Falcon 9's computers can, and mission control or the ground control can.
Fuel, getting ready to finish the fuel load. Liquid oxygen load on first and second stage will continue until the last 3 to 2 minutes of the countdown.
We should hear that call out RP1 load complete coming up in about 6 minutes. Again, RP1 is just that densified kerosene or that rocket fuel that Falcon 9 is going to be used to power Bob and Doug to orbit today.
And stage 1 fuel is closed out.
So we just heard the announcement that RP1 has been filled. Then T minus 5 minutes. Let's just check the weather. Oh, actually, we can't check the weather. We'll check it afterwards. We'll just check it. No, we are not.
The cold gas wrapped around the stages as the tank skins are chilled by the densified liquid oxygen, picking up the humidity from the floor ahead.
Screen bar.
Looks like at this moment we're a little more than 90% full on the oxidizer on the first stage, ticking up towards that 80% mark on the second stage. We'll be counting down all the way till about 2 or 3 minutes, as John and I just said, until everything is loaded.
Falcon 9 heaters closing out.
And then we will be go for launch.
Okay, so everything is good till now.
Dragon has transitioned to configure for terminal count.
Yeah, and now
Vehicle tanks pressing for strong back retract.
I'm not sure, like T minus 2 minutes or maybe 3 minutes. The Falcon 9's onboard computers take count of the
second stage
like
and begin to retract the strong
we're
back.
seeing over here and then control all of this stuff.
We'll
As
move
I
back
told you
about 2
that
degrees.
T minus
That'll get
0.
us to liftoff position. At
Like the
liftoff,
engines are
the strong back will
ignited
then
on T
recline
minus 0,
about
but the
45
Falcon 9 still has the ability to abort, so it just aborted and
Stage 2, RP1 bleed.
or it would have blasted or something like that would have
the strong
happened.
back retract has started.
Or
On
maybe
the
it would
left,
just have
you'll
fallen
see
back
it
to
go
the
back just a couple of degrees.
Stage 1, RP1 bleed.
So before before like exiting after before the ground crew was the ground professionals were exiting, and the hatch was closed. They performed a leak check leak proof test, and then it was successful. Obviously that's how they're doing this. It was just successful.
We'll see where their fuel loading is at.
So T minus 3 minutes.
Progressing down with the count.
AFTS final setup started.
Three and a half minutes from launch.
And the strong back is now reclining away from the Falcon 9.
And then at lift off the hold down clamp to release the Falcon 9, and then it just lifts off and it's in the air then. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. This thing is going to retract. Not right now. Just like maybe 1 second before launch or something. Okay, so T minus 2 minutes. It's happening.
Dragon has transitioned to terminal count and is on terminal count.
Yeah, it's on like they have taken.
Okay, we're at T minus 2 minutes, 42 seconds. Stage 1 launch load is closed out. Stage 2 will continue to load for about another half a minute or so. Once we get the completion of stage 2 launch loading, we have to vent down the line, so you'll see another large white cloud coming off of the strong back. That'll be normal. That'll happen around T minus 1 minute and 40 seconds.
The Falcon 9
Going on internal power now.
launch before then, this is going to be very good for you if the solids are still
Stage 2 launch load being
So
complete.
yeah, the first boost, first
It's been
boost.
almost 9 years since we've been in this position. A lot of work done by thousands of people to get to this point. All our eyes focused on 2 now.
Was that cleaning or is it rain? Oh no, I have no idea what's. Is it cleaning or is it rain?
Stage 2 workflow is closed out. The sound fills are complete.
Yeah, okay, it's cleaning or something like that. Or maybe the things that, the water that they're giving to ignite.
Stage 2 launch load complete. All fuel, all oxidizer on Falcon 9. 1 minute 34 seconds to go till launch.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Launch America Life. That's slogan that they are.
Dragon is countdown. FPS is armed for launch.
Okay, so any moment now I'm going to
Under a minute now, the FPS, the flight termination system, has been armed.
Direct SpaceX, go for launch.
Okay, the final go has been.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Oh wow. This is going to be good. 24. Okay, I'm not down now.
Stage 1 tanks pressure supply.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. So rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing the dream. 20 seconds into flight, stage 1 propulsion is not on.
Aerodynamic pressure.
T plus 30 seconds into this historic mission. Flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9, and look at them go.
Falcon power telemetry nominal.
And 1D throttle down.
We're throttling down to get ready for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're in the throttle bucket. Reports say all systems are go.
Vehicle is supersonic.
We've exceeded Mach 1 on the Falcon 9.
Mach 1 is 1 time the speed of sound, like greater than the speed of
And 1D throttle up.
We're throttling back up to full power as we're through max Q.
Copy 1 Bravo.
And we heard that 1 Bravo call out. That's just the second abort zone that they're in. They'll continue to be on this until the first stage has done its job and they switch over to the second. At this point, Bob and Doug pulling about 2.3 Gs, 2.3 times the Earth's gravity, already moving at over 1,500 miles per hour.
We've heard the call out for MVAC engine chill. That's getting the MVAC engine ready to light. That'll come at about 2:44 into flight. Right now, everything continuing to look good. Next major event coming up is going to be the triple. We'll have main engine cutoff of the 9 first stage engines, stage separation, and then ignition of the second stage engine to continue to carry astronauts into orbit. Coming up in about 20 seconds.
And 1D throttle down.
Okay.
We're throttling down the Merlin engines on the first stage.
I'm not sure if they'll show the first stage land, but I think they should. And it will be good for you if it's the first
And we have Nico.
Nico.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Falcon 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
Yeah, you just saw that thing, just like those kind of things.
All right, we have stage separation confirmed. The first stage beginning its flight back. The second stage being powered by that single Merlin 1D vacuum engine has ignited and is now carrying Bob and Doug into orbit. So they're going to continue under the power of this second
Stage
stage,
2 propulsion is nominal.
which will cut off at SECO, or second engine cut off at about 8 minutes and 44 seconds.
You can see the
into
speed,
today's flight. So a little
6,000,
over 5 minutes
like
to go
around
still
7,000
on this
kilometers per
second
hour.
stage. You heard the call out to Alpha, so they're now in the longest abort zone that carries them all the way from about North Carolina up the eastern seaboard, almost to Canada. Things looking good though, getting good call outs, nominal propulsion on that second stage. Bob and Doug continuing to make their way into orbit.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Entry burn is like when the first stage is coming back, it has to do a burn to slow down.
Trajectory.
All right, here in nominal trajectory, so Dragon pointed in the right direction, continuing to make their flight uphill. Heard acquisition of signal Bermuda. That's one of the other ground stations that they're using to get telemetry and data back from this spacecraft.
Stage 2 propulsion is still nominal.
So everything is looking
A little
good.
over 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. Bob and Doug flying at more than 5,600 miles
Dragon
per hour.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Already almost 200 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Nominal trajectory continuing.
Okay, so there you can see the Falcon 9 booster. So this is just going to be awesome. Like its landing is just
It
awesome.
looks like we are getting a view of the first stage as well.
Yep, on your right screen, you can see that first stage with the grid fins deployed. It's making its way back to attempt to land on our drone ship. Of course, I
It's
still
very
love you
fast,
today.
like maybe
And we're just
going
about
at
a minute,
12,000 kilometers
a couple
per
minutes
hour.
away from
That's all.
the
So
entry
like,
burn, and that's where
it's not like
3 of
1
the 9
centimeter.
Merlin engines do ignite to help slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the landing burn, which is just a single engine.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory.
And you heard
Nominal
starting to. There's that call out. They are still on a nominal trajectory on Dragon, still on second stage, and that's that MVAC engine on second stage on your left screen. Again, on your right screen is that first stage
The
booster
cold
coming
nitrogen
back
thruster just
towards
the
our drone
maneuvers.
ship. Of course, I still love you. We're about a minute away from entry burn.
Meanwhile, that second stage continuing to power Dragon into orbit. Again, if you're keeping an eye on that timer, that's going to continue to burn until 8 minutes and 44 seconds into flight. So a little over 2 minutes from now, we'll hear the call out SECO. It'll then be a little
Stage 2 propulsion is still good.
A little over 3 minutes until Dragon physically separates from the second stage of the Falcon 9 after the upper
Dragon
stage gets a
SpaceX
chance.
nominal trajectory.
Dragon copies, nominal trajectory.
Continuing to check in with Bob and Doug as they are on a nominal trajectory. Just about 10 seconds away from that first stage. Starting that entry burn on your right screen, we should be able to see that view live.
Stage 1 entry burn started.
And there is that entry burn
So
beginning.
one Merlin 1D is
This burn lasts about
1D
36
plus
seconds
doing
long.
the burn.
Stage 2 FTS is
Even
safe.
though there are 9 Merlin engines.
Well, that entry burn continues. We're just about a minute away from SECO. We'll have a number of events all happen in rapid succession. It'll be
Landing
second
burn
engine
is like
cutoff.
almost
We'll be
landing.
looking for that stage 1 landing burn shortly after.
Yeah, actually, just within a few seconds of each other. Such a cool view on your left screen, seeing Bob and Doug on Dragon. Right now you can see the displays that they are seeing right now themselves.
Terminal guidance.
And back throttle step.
We are coming up 25 seconds or so away from SECO, or second engine cutoff.
This is also the point where Bob and Doug are experiencing their highest G-force. We're seeing the counter tick up to right about 1.8.
Copy, Shannon.
You heard Shannon, so that just means they're in their final abort zones. If they were to abort at this point, it would either be an abort to orbit or to land off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for second cutoff confirmation.
And back throttle step. And back shutdown.
Stage 1 landing clear.
Confirmation of SECO's second engine cutoff.
Now we are waiting for our first stage to make its way to our drone ship. Of course, I still love you.
Dragon SpaceX nominal orbital insertion.
Confirmation is nominal orbital insertion.
Nominal orbital insertion.
Deploy.
And what you're seeing on your screen is a live view of our drone ship, where our first stage will be coming down. Looks like we lost that live view, but we'll wait for confirmation of that landing shortly here.
Falcon 9 first
It's landed.
And there you can see on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed. This is the first Falcon 9 to carry humans to orbit, so very exciting for us. And as you can see on your right screen, Bob and Doug are still making their way to their targeted orbit.
M1D to recovery 1.
So exciting today.
It doesn't stop.
It does not stop.
All right, we did hear again that call out, good orbital insertion, so that means Falcon 9 and Dragon right now exactly where they're supposed to be.
M1D to FRC on recovery 1.
And it's right at about 12 minutes when Dragon will separate. Looks like we saw a 0G indicator floating around there. I know Bob and Doug owe us a little bit about what exactly that is that they brought up with them.
Yeah, and they also got to go like, I'm not talking to them if you're thinking I'm talking to them.
And before separation, before Dragon initiates separation from the second stage, they do make sure they do ensure that the vehicle is not spinning and it is in good condition before we separate.
That's right, the upper stage does small attitude maneuver using cold gas thrusters built into the rocket body itself.
Exactly, so we do expect that separation to occur in about a minute from now, but they do wait until they have full confirmation that it is ready to separate. Such cool views. I cannot get over this view that we are seeing right now.
So
Bob and
this
Doug
is
on the right
live.
screen inside of Crew Dragon, out in space.
On the right, it's
Yeah, already 200 kilometers over planet Earth, or a little over 124 miles, traveling in excess of 2,700 meters, 27,000 meters per second, or about 16,000 miles per hour.
This is about to separate from the Crew Dragon.
So again, we're just standing by. That separation event should be coming up shortly. Then they'll begin a series of checks on the Draco thrusters that are going to be used to maneuver and then power Dragon on its flight to the International Space Station. Standing by for separation.
Expected loss of signal, Wolves.
It sounds like we had an expected LOS loss of signal with one of the ground stations. Waiting for confirmation now of that
Dragon separation confirmed.
Dragon separation confirmed.
There is a great view right in front of you of Dragon separating.
Separation confirmed.
And there's that call out. Dragon is now officially making its way to the International Space Station today.
Dragon SpaceX, at that separation call, we have a few words for you from our Falcon 9 team.
Standing by.
Dragon, Chief Engineer on Dragon to ground. Bob Doug, on behalf of the entire launch team, thanks for flying with Falcon 9 today. We hope you enjoyed the ride and wish you a great mission.
Thanks, Paula. Congratulations to you and the F9 team for the first human ride for Falcon 9. And it was incredible. Appreciate all the hard work, and thanks for the great ride to space.
Copy all.
Good luck.
Now I'll do the live stream of the live docking procedure, which will be tomorrow. Like I'll schedule the event, so I don't know the time right now, but I'll schedule the event.
Copy all. Good luck. Godspeed.
All right, so Bob and Doug are in
And Dragon
space.
SpaceX, we confirm nominal Eclipse activation and service section Draco checkouts. Nose cone deploys in progress.
Copy all. We're monitoring.
The
And
core
all
here
of
at
this stuff
Hawthorne
was
giving the crew a
built,
heads up
manufactured and
that
operated
we
by
have confirmation the nose cone
SpaceX.
is deploying. So again, that
Just
nose
as the
cone is going to
astronauts
open
are
up a
from
little bit more
NASA,
than
like
90
if
degrees,
SpaceX
goes up
has
to
any
about, I think,
problems, they
105 degrees. And that's going to
actually
expose
go to NASA and ask.
the actual docking ring and the hatch that they're going to be going through once they attach to the International Space Station. And also 4 of those Draco thrusters, we call them the forward bulkhead thrusters, that are going to be used for these major phase burns or firings of those thrusters to actually raise their orbit gradually over the coming hours. Also heard good activation of the Eclipse, that's the environmental control and life support system. That's everything controlling their atmosphere, just keeping Dragon a nice, safe, habitable environment where they're going to be living for the next 19 hours until they arrive at the space station.
Right, exactly. And Falcon 9's job may be done for today, but the mission is not over. Crew Dragon's job is not done. As you can see, Bob and Doug are still inside Crew Dragon, making their way. It will be a 19-hour trip to the International Space Station before they dock tomorrow morning. And such cool views. I love that we can get these live views here and see and watch what they're doing now that they are in orbit.
Yeah, it's incredible to just be looking over their shoulder, to be along for the ride. And we're going to be with them, and we're going to be with all of you the entire way for their journey to the space station. We're going to be covering live throughout. Bob and Doug will obviously have a sleep period where they'll get about 8 hours of sleep a little bit later today before they wake up for all of their final approach. One of the major things we are looking forward to in the next couple of hours is going to be their first turn at the controls. So they're actually going to be using those touchscreen displays to take control and manually pilot Dragon. We'll walk you through what that's going to look like, and assuming we have some good ground station coverage, we'll be able to get views from right inside Dragon, looking over their shoulder as they manipulate the controls at the display. But I mean, we had a smooth ride uphill, both stages of the Falcon 9 doing their job, placing Bob and Doug into orbit. I mean, this is a day, this is a historical day. This is us kicking off that new era of spaceflight that we've all been talking about and longing for since the Space Shuttle program came to an end in 2011.
Yes.
And the weather cooperated.
Yes, second time's a charm.
Right.
All right, so day for the history books. As you can see, we have lost some live signal there, but the mission still continues, and we're going to send it over to KSC to continue broadcasting live with you.
Loss of signal, the usual end.
Yeah, Jesse and Dan, we are just in awe over here. When I woke up this morning and looked at the weather forecast, I was like, man, we're going to be back here on Sunday, but we did it. The room cleared out. Everybody was outside watching, and inside the lights were shaking, the cameras were shaking. Lauren came back in with tears in her eyes. This is really amazing.
I can't believe it. I saw it with my own eyes. This is, I'm a little bit speechless. Just so grateful that we got them up there, and there's a lot more to go, but I'm so happy they're safe right now. I'm just so happy.
Yeah. Leland, you were talking about it. It's amazing what we can do when we work together.
Yes, American astronauts on an American rocket from American soil, showing you what Americans can do when we come together as a team and blast Doug and Bob off to the cosmos. This is what it's all about, and their families and everyone is working together to take them up to space safely. So I don't know what to say. That rocket fuel is still in my veins, and I want to go get on the rocket.
Well, it's too.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to just continue like this forever, but I'll just like check 1 second.
He has more words than we do because we're still kind of speechless. Daryl?
Incredible here, Marie, at the Operations Support Building, where a chorus of applause has been happening from the beginning of launch and
Yeah, I don't know
various
where
stages.
NASA's
Some very special
administrator
guests were
launched
here
it
to
from
watch
because he
it.
was
That
just
includes
talking
President
with
Donald Trump,
the
Vice President
PSC,
Mike Pence, and NASA
PSC
Administrator
main
Jim
person
Bright
or
Science
something
joins me
like
now,
that.
and you were with
And
the
was
President
oh
and
yeah, there
Vice
he is.
President.
On your right.
America's back, launching human astronauts again. Tell me how you feel about that, and tell me about the President watching the launch and what happened there.
So this has been a long time coming. It's been 9 years since we've launched American astronauts on American rockets from American soil, and now it's done. We have done it. It's been way too long. I want to give a lot of credit to Charlie Bolden. He was my predecessor as the NASA administrator. He fought hard for this program at a time when it didn't get any support in Congress. We now have an administration that is fully supportive of our spaceflight initiatives, not just on the exploration, discovery, going to the moon, onto Mars, but also from a Space Force perspective. Our budgets are going up, things are strong, and today was just just an amazing day. One of the things the president did right out of the gate when he became president is he created what's called the National Space Council, and he put the vice president as chairman of the National Space Council. And on that National Space Council, you've got the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Commerce, the Secretary of Transportation, the Secretary of Education, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, all of these different amazing individuals that deal with space day in and day out. A lot of people don't realize how many parts of the federal government deal with space. And the vice president invited those members of the National Space Council here as well. So we just had, and then we had members of Congress, bipartisan members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, who have been involved in supporting this program, for a long time now. So I'll just tell you, I'm breathing a sigh of relief. But I will also tell you, I am not going to celebrate until Bob and Doug are home safely. Tomorrow, they're going to dock to the International Space Station. Tonight, I'm heading to Houston to be at the Johnson Space Center when that happens. So it's a bit of a relief. The nose cone is now open. It's now deployed, which means that now we're going to go into some burns. We're going to have some phasing burns. We're going to have some boosting burns, and we're going to get as much as we can in alignment with the International Space Station as early as possible here. But also, I know it's hard, but the big thing that we need to do now is we got to get
so now I'm cutting
Bob and Doug,
this live
who have now
stream. My
gone
next
through this
video will be
exercise
at
twice.